Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, Gervonta Davis, let's talk about him because he's got a fight coming up in a couple days against Gamboa, and he's fighting in Atlanta at the Atlanta Hawks Arena, which is a nice basketball arena, you know. And it's interesting for me this fight because for a couple of reasons. Number one, the reason the fight is so interesting to me is because Gamboa has Stacey McKinley as his assistant trainer, and if there's one thing I know about Stacey McKinley is that he's gonna have Gamboa ready for this fight. And if Gamboa isn't ready to fight, he's gonna get slapped because that's how Stacey McKinley is. So, you know, I'll be rooting for Gamboa only because Stacey McKinley is in his corner. If he wasn't in his corner, I probably wouldn't care as much. But I want my friend Stacey McKinley to succeed because that's what he is. Stacey McKinley is my friend. He is a friend of this channel. Probably one of my best friends in boxing. You know, I love him dearly. So I want him to succeed in his career, and I want Gamboa to get this win. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I know one thing: Gamboa will be ready to fight, and we might see. I mean, we might see one of the best performances we've seen from him in quite some time. But we'll see what happens. But going to Tank because he's really the main attraction of this fight between them two. He's the talk of this card, obviously. They're fighting in Atlanta, you know, and Atlanta is a very big and up and coming city in America, and it's one of those places that you know that gets a lot of big events, but now is getting a big boxing event, and you know this is good for Tank Davis because now Leonard Ellaby is taking him into an untapped market, you know, an untapped market for boxing, which does in turn, you know, it raises his profile as a fighter. So I'm looking at the way Leonard Ellaby's been moving Tank. You know, he's sold out in his hometown of Baltimore. He's sold lots of tickets fighting as the co-main event at the Barclays Center. He's very well known in popular culture on social media. He's got almost 2 million Instagram followers. His star is growing. He's become you know, whether you like it or not, you gotta give Leonard Ellaby credit. He's taken him to England. He sold out the Copper Box Arena. He's doing his damn thing, and you gotta put some respect on Leonard Ellaby for how he's moving Tank Davis, whether you like him or not. With that being said, the topic of this video is Gervonta Davis fighting on pay-per-view. Now, a lot of people will say, and I'll say this myself, you know, the pay-per-view model for the most part, it's dead, it's non-existent, and there really aren't many fighters or any fighters right now that could uphold that pay-per-view model. And for it to be sustainable. But the thing is, and I want to kind of emphasize this to my UK subscribers or my subscribers that aren't in America, you know, like, you don't need to sell a lot of pay-per-views in America to generate a lot of money. Like, for example, if, let's say, this fight if Gervonta Davis fights on pay-per-view, right? If he fights on pay-per-view, right, let's say the pay-per-view is $75, right? And he sells, I don't know, 100,000 pay-per-views. That's, let's see, that's about $7.5 million. So you can make decent money on pay-per-views, right? And that's where Gervonta's always wanted to be. Now the question with Tank becomes, because Leonard Ellaby has said his next fight will be on pay-per-view. The question with Tank becomes, can he realistically sell 300,000 pay-per-view buys? Because while he does have a lot of Instagram followers and things like that, the fact of the matter is just because you have a lot of Instagram followers doesn't mean that translates into pay-per-view buys and people supporting you. There's a difference between a follower and somebody else who's a supporter. A follower is just somebody that's going to see if you won your fight and how you're doing in training and support you from afar. But a supporter is somebody that will go buy merchandise, go buy tickets, buy pay-per-view, come to your media workouts, things like that. So he has 1.9 million followers, but how many supporters do he have? That's the real question, and that's what I'm interested to see. Because truthfully speaking, I think Gervonta Tank Davis actually, if you said, Brendan, okay, the pay-per-view model for the most part in America is dead, but if there was a fighter that could fight under that, you know, archaic model and be successful, you know, could it be Gervonta Tank Davis? And I would say yes, he could. I think he could for a couple of reasons. Number one, his style appeals, I should say. It appeals to the casual boxing fans. Gervonta Tank Davis brings the pain. He folds you up and he knocks you out. So that right there, that wins over the casual fans right there. Then you gotta look at things outside the ring, like popular culture. Okay, he, believe it or not, he's known in popular culture. Like he's very well known in hip hop culture, and these are things that go over well with the younger generation. So he's got the younger generation. He's got a younger audience, and he's connecting with the younger audience, and these things are gonna go a long way for him. He's gonna create a legion of fans doing that. And then thirdly, does he have good opponents to fight? And the answer is yes. He's got great people around his weight. Whether or not Leonard Ellerbe and Floyd Mayweather get him out of witness protection and allow him to fight guys from other promotional stables, that remains to be seen, because there are some potential big fights for Tank Davis in the future with Lomachenko, with Burchell, Tevin Farmer. These are fights that matter. So I think Tank could be a pay-per-view fighter. A sustainable pay-per-view fighter. I don't know, and I don't think he'll ever touch the Floyd numbers, but to be fair, he's got the style to really become a superstar. There's very few fighters that are from America, American-born, American-raised fighters, who I think could become legitimate superstars. But this kid, I think, is one of them. I think he's got superstar written on him, because I like watching him fight. I just want to see him fight better people. But listen, Leonard Ellerbe, whether you love him or you hate him, you gotta admire how he's moved Tank, because he's gotten Tank to a point where he's being talked about, where his fights matter, where he's fighting in different places, where he's selling out in different places, and you can't give him nothing but respect. But as far as boxing goes, his only legitimate fight so far has been Jose Pedraza. This fight with Gamboa could, for better or for worse, be his next legitimate fight. But with Gamboa, it's like, Gamboa, this is not the Gamboa of old. This isn't the Gamboa from 5, 6, 7 years ago that people were looking at to be the next pound-for-pound star in boxing. That guy has came and that guy has went. This Gamboa is somebody that has looked pedestrian, very below average, and pretty much looks like a shell of himself as a fighter. And this is just the cold, harsh realities of boxing. It's a young man's game. It's been that way, and it'll always be that way. He comes into this fight being 38 years old. 38 years old, 32 fights in the professional ranks, 30 wins, 2 losses. Obviously, one to Terence Crawford, the other to Robinson Castellanos. But I mean, if we look at Gamboa, right? If we look at his last 4 fights, he actually does have some decent wins on his resume. He's not a bum like people want to make him out to be. He's beaten the likes of. He stopped Roman Martinez's last fight. I'm pretty sure that it's the. Yeah, he stopped Roman Martinez. He beat Jason Sosa in a controversial fight. In my opinion, I thought Jason Sosa won, but he got the win. Even in 2015, he beat a decent fighter, Highland Williams Jr. So he's got some decent wins over the last couple of years, and he's not an outright bum like people want to make him out to be. And for me, and this is just me, just knowing Stacey McKinley, knowing what kind of trainer he is, I can't say how good Gamboa is going to be, but I can tell he will be prepared, because one thing I do know about Stacey McKinley and all of his fighters is that whether they win or whether they lose, they come into fights prepared. So he's going to be prepared, and don't be surprised if you see Yuriorkis Gamboa have some success against Tank Davis early on. I don't think he's going to win, because I saw him on the pads, and he's very stiff. He's he's a lot slower, and I think to beat Tank Davis, you need to be able to have speed and hit him with a punch he doesn't see. So I'm not sure if Gamboa can still do that at his age, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. And yeah, so he's not a bum. He's not a bum. I've been hearing people say that Yuriorkis Gamboa is a bum. He's not a bum. He's past his prime for sure. He's not the Gamboa of 2010 that fought Orlando Salido, but he's still a capable fighter. He's still someone that's solid. He's coming off a win this past July where he stopped Roman Martinez. And Roman Martinez, look, I know Roman Martinez is not somebody that's anything special, but Roman Martinez is a former world champion. Roman Martinez is somebody of some quality, so we have to take that win and give him some credit for that. So I'm gonna say, listen, I really hate making predictions because I don't get a lot of them right, unfortunately, but I'm gonna say that Yuriorkis Gamboa, he gives Tank a couple of good rounds, but I can't see this fight going more than 5 rounds. I can't. But you know what? If it does get, if Gamboa is able to get Tank Davis past that 5th, 6th round, then I think, you know, it becomes an actually winnable fight for Gamboa, because Tank Davis has never been in them deep waters. And I watched the interview on YouTube where Stacey McKinley was talking about, you know, what their game plan is, and he's gonna Yuriorkis Gamboa is going to try to take Gervonta Davis into those deep waters to the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th round, and we're gonna see if he can swim in those deep waters. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it's a better fight than people think it'll be. And if Tank Davis goes in there and if he stops Gamboa, let's say like in a round or two, like he's been doing to everybody else, then wow, what a performance. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Gervonta Davis versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. These are just some of my thoughts on the fight. My thoughts on him being a pay-per-view star. And yeah, hopefully when I get back home to the UK, to America, from the UK, because I'm still in the UK. Hopefully when I get back to America, we can talk to Stacey McKinley about this fight, and no matter what happens in the heavyweight division, because I'm looking forward to really talking to Stacey soon, because it's been a while since we've done an interview. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.